Explorers Club Skills Pack. The Knife Safety and Usage.
Alright, welcome explorers to our very first Skills Pack video. I'm Drew.
I'm Matt.
And we are here today to talk about knife safety and usage.
Super important. We know that we just went over this in our Skills Pack with you, and we're realizing the need for you to be able to revisit that because we gave you a lot of information. We want to share it with you and with your family. So let's take a look at knife safety and usage. The first thing we want to talk about is skills and safety. Skills and safety are intertwined. You cannot separate them. In order to be a safe knife user, you have to be a skillful knife user.
So we have here a knife. The knife is a tool. The tool is an extension of our body. So we need to be aware of what our body is doing at all times. We need to be aware of what the tool in our hand is doing at all times in order to stay safe.
So as much as I'm responsible for my own hand to make sure that if I hit my friend, I'm responsible for it, I'm responsible for that knife. Effectively, my hand has changed into a blade, and when I have a blade, that's a very big responsibility. So we want to talk about that safety first. Very, very important.
The first thing that we need to do is get familiar with the tools that we will be using. So we have some tools in front of us, and we're going to go through all of these different tools and learn how to use them and learn the differences between the different tools.
So let's take a look at our first tool. Drew, what do we have there?
The first tool that we have is a fixed blade knife. So you can see that this knife does not close or open. It is a longer knife, so it's something that you have to be careful with because you have a longer extension of your body at this point. Let's talk about how to use or how to open and close this knife. So the first thing that you need to do is learn to open it by keeping your free hand away from the blade and open it nice and easily so that that you don't end up cutting yourself or injuring yourself in the process. In order to close your knife, you just easily put the knife back into the sheath and make sure it is locked in there. The biggest safety concern with opening and closing a fixed blade knife is that some people choose to hold on to the sheath or the case right at the base of the knife.
Ouch!
What can happen here?
Yeah, that doesn't look good to me, Drew.
No.
Let's not do that, explorers.
Okay.
So we've got that fixed blade sheathed knife. Now let's take a look. We've got one more fixed blade sheathed knife. That's another Mora knife. That's a nice knife. Another one with a slightly different sheath. But now, yep, there we go. Now we've got one other knife. This is a little more common with the explorers, and this is a locking blade, right? So I've opened this. Notice how I'm opening this up, grabbing the knife right at the base, right at the handle, and making sure that my hands are far away from the edge. I don't want to cut. I don't want to hold right here because sometimes this little tiny point here is going to come down and strike my finger, and that is not going to feel good. So what we're going to do, grab it, open it up, and listen, wait for it. Oh, what was that? That is the locking mechanism. Now look, as much as I try to push that knife close, it's not going to close. A lot of us are familiar with this. It's a safe knife to the effect that if we make a mistake, which some explorers do, and get confused and don't pay attention to what we're doing and start carving with the opposite side of our knife, the dull side, the back side, is not the side that's going to cut. So, if we make that mistake, the cool thing about a locking blade is that the knife won't shut on us, which is a problem we will take a look at when we get to the Swiss Army knife. Now with a locking blade, what you're going to see is proper safety for the closing of this blade. So in order to close this knife, I'm going to hold the blade like this, not near the sharp pointy bit. I'm going to push. I'm going to slowly just get it past the point where it locks. Then I'm going to put my hand around so it is far away from where that blade's going to close. Then slowly ease that blade down. Super important. Please do it this way. It will save you potentially hurting yourself, and we don't want that. And we've got some more knives here. What's this guy?
This is also a locking blade knife. However, you will notice as I open it up that the blade itself is different. Oh, let me just spin it around here. The blade itself is different. There's a serrated end on this knife. This is a really effective knife for doing some minor sawing as well as cutting rope. However, you'll notice that the actual cutting surface, the blade itself, is much shorter and has less of a cutting surface. So this actually was not as effective of a tool for carving or whittling. You'll notice that as you whittle with the knife, there's a much greater distance between your hand and the cutting surface, which means that you have more leverage and it's harder to get a precision cut by having the blade further away. So this knife has its purpose. It's a great tool, but it's not as effective for beginning whittling and carving. This one you'll see has a different method for closing. There's a little piece in here that you open, or that you just push in order to release the knife, and now you can close it again by holding your fingers far away from the point of the blade. Oftentimes I see explorers close it with their finger up here. Ouch.
No. Ouch.
That's no good. So holding down at the base of the handle and closing the knife this way.
And now we have the infamous Swiss Army knife. An Explorers Club favorite. Maybe my first knife. I think my first knife was Swiss Army knife. Most of us have had Swiss Army knives as our first knife. One of the reasons is because it's got so many cool gadgets. You can get this little, like, what is this thing, and something else that does something neat. And these look kind of the same, but they do stuff. And they're so cool. Wow. Now, it is pretty neat. There are some really great tools actually in the Swiss Army knife, and it can be really practical. It'd be a nice tool for survival, for camping, for just having fun and trying out different tools. But in general, what we're going to look at right now is the actual knife in the Swiss Army knife. They're all pretty similar, right? What we have here is a straight blade. What we don't have is a locking blade in the Swiss Army knife. There may be a few out there that do have locking blades, I'm not sure, but most of them do not. You can see here, as we all know, you get up under that divot and you pull it up. Notice that my hands, again, every time, this is absolutely essential, every time my hands are away from the blade as much as they can be, but I still have control of that knife. You got to keep control of that knife. So you can't get so scared of the blade that you're just holding it by the very tips of your fingers. Feel confident, open it up, get it to the point where it's open, and then this is a decent knife for carving in that it's a straight blade. So you're not dealing with that serrated problem. But at the same point in time, it does not have a locking mechanism, and this is a thinner blade. So there's a real danger of explorers trying to carve with the wrong end. And if I carve with the wrong end of this, boom. See that? That is not a happy situation. We don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. We want to carve the wood, not ourselves. Carve the wood, not yourself. So in order to close this one, again, just that gripping right here along the edge, and then slowly ease it. Notice how I've got my thumbs, good control. And you'll notice that with Swiss Army knife, they tend to have this point where people sometimes will try to close it this way, and they're pretty confident that they're just going to be alright, and then what they don't realize is there's this point with Swiss Army knife where it just kind of snaps shut. boom, by itself. Notice that? That is exactly why you never want to have your hands over where that blade is going. Some of them snap shut quite fast. So be careful with that. And happy carving, explorers. This is going to be a great skill, and it's really one that Drew and I both love, and it's a great journey. So let's transition and look at some more actual carving.